How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about day one of the Democratic National Convention. Now, I'm going to kind of freestyle it here. I'm going to just go off of my memory. I was going to write notes for the video, but if I do that and I'm writing a whole article and not get into the video, so I'll do the article after I get done with the video, and I'll place that in the description box below. The convention was, I think, 100% virtual. So there was no audience, no crowd, and it was pretty weird. Even James Clyburn, a Democratic rep from South Carolina, said that it's awkward. You can't get any feeling for anybody, any energy. So it was strange, 1000% strange. I'm glad they had Eva Longoria hosting it, the actress, because some of these Democrats, I mean, good grief. I'm not necessarily some guy that's just caught up on looks, but at a certain point, we're on TV and you can't be looking like a troll or somebody's left pinky toe. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm glad they had Eva Longoria just to be a decent face on television and not somebody like Lena Dunham who gets grosser by the day. But different story, I digress. It was cringy. Everything was pre-recorded and it was just random settings, random people. And one thing I'll say is that there was a whole lot of lies that were told during the DNC, a lot of mistruths, a lot of things that were just flat out lies, obviously not true on their face. Like there was one story about the young lady who lost her father to the virus. May he rest in peace and prayers out to her family. But she's talking about, oh, well, you know, Trump didn't create the virus, but he didn't take it seriously, all this and that and the third. And I felt betrayed because my father voted for Trump. It's like, well, wait a minute. Oh, let's pause for the cause. Your father, 65 years old, that's the risk factor right there. And if you saw him in pictures, he had to be every bit of 400 pounds. I'm just keeping it real. If he was not 400, he was most certainly not less than 300. I'm 215 pounds right now, and he was about twice my size and 65 years old. She's talking about, oh, he was healthy. Healthy? How was being obese at 65 years old healthy? That doesn't make any sense at all. You got comorbidities, you're in the karaoke bar. I mean, you taking the risk at that point, and you know it's a risk. Don't try to blame Trump. That's a risk you take. And it's unfortunate that he died, but don't try to blame anybody else. But I'll move on from there. There were a few Republicans, so-called Republicans, that came out and spoke talking about, well, I'm a lifelong Republican, but I cannot support Trump. Kasich was there, and he had kind of a weird setting. It was supposed to be like two different paths you can take, but I'm not really sure what that looks like. I'm thinking about, if you ever seen the movie Blade's hairstyle in the movie, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about V for Vendetta. I'm thinking about, it just doesn't really look good on TV. Okay, some of these ideas they had when they were thinking about it, wherever they were in some kind of boardroom meeting, did not translate well when they actually got the TV. All right. And they had like this virtual audience that would clap after certain speeches and whatnot and certain performances. I saw two performances. We'll talk about the first one first and then the last one last. But there was one performance from this lady and the music was so depressing. I'm like, man, good grief. I see why people on the Democratic side are so sad and mad and butthurt and trigger all the time. I mean, if they're listening to that make it pretty much want to go off the edge of the cliff and it all. Okay, that was some really sad, depressing music. And at the end of it, they're clapping with smiles on their face. It was like, man, if I listen to that, I don't know how I'm going to be smiling and clapping. You know, I watched it for you guys to do a review, but there were some points in it where I was just really struggling to stay tuned. It was doom and gloom. It was sad. There was no enthusiasm. And the biggest thing is that there was no real, how can I say, advocating for Joe Biden. They mentioned Joe Biden, of course, but it was more about why Orange Man is bad, why Trump is Satan, basically, why you shouldn't vote for him, why everything is his fault. They're blaming the virus on Trump. They're blaming violence on Trump. They're blaming everything on Trump. So Bernie Sanders did speak, and he pretty much said the same old party line, you know, we're going to get this done. We're going to get that done and fight for 15, climate change, you know, the basic stuff. You got to be ready for the virus. Trump's not going to be the guy. Biden's going to be the guy. It was interesting seeing Bernie Sanders out there talking so highly of Joe Biden and the Democratic Party when the Democratic Party robbed him in 2016 of the nomination and gave it to Hillary Clinton. Maybe that's true, maybe that's false, but if you guys are watching the 2016 campaign cycle with me, you may think that I got a little bit of a point there, but different story, I'll move on. It was interesting seeing him speak so highly of the Democratic Party and Joe Biden while seeing his 2016 campaign staff, Bernie Sanders' campaign staff, that is, trash Joe Biden and the Democratic Party as they were watching along on Twitter. That was really interesting. Hopefully, people that were for Bernie Sanders will kind of open their eyes and realize what's going on right now with the Democratic Party, all right, that it doesn't really matter what you come up with as far as any kind of policy or whatever while you are trying to become the president. What ultimately matters is what the Democratic Party wants. And if they want Joe Biden, if they want, the top cop Kamala Harris, if that's what they want, that's what you're going to get, and you can't do anything about it. So hopefully that was kind of a red pill moment for them. But Bernie Sanders didn't really say too much. I guess the Bernie bros might like what he said, but for me, it's the same old carbon copy type of stuff. Then you got to Michelle Obama. She spoke and she was a headliner, and it was more of the same. And one thing I noticed here was that there was a lot of lies that she said. Okay, the one big lie that I always hear from the mainstream media and from the left in general, politicos and regular normies, is this whole thing about Charlottesville. Good people on both sides. I think that was said a few times during the first night of the DNC. And to go back to it, you had the event in Charlottesville where Heather Heyer got killed, and she rests in peace, after being hit by a car. They're saying that event was a white nationalist event. It was a Klan rally. Neo-Nazis were there. And then on the other side were just the innocent, peaceful protesters, the counter-protesters. So one side was the white racists. The other side was the counter-protesters. But that's not the reality of what was going on. The reality is that there's a statue of Robert E. Lee near or on the campus of UVA in Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm from Virginia. I know guys that were there, so I know what's going on. I've been to Charlottesville many times. I know what kind of place it is. It's a quiet college town with a lot of plastic searching places for some reason. But anyway, it was not what the media said. The main objective was to advocate for the statue of Robert E. Lee to stay where it was or to be removed. Other groups, other subversive groups like neo-Nazis, white supremacists, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, they descended upon Charlottesville to do their own thing for their own purposes, for their own ulterior motives. So Trump was not talking about them. As a matter of fact, in that same talk, not an hour later, not days later, not months later, in the same talk where he said good people on both sides, he said, I'm not referring to the white supremacists, KKK, and neo-Nazis. I condemn them totally. I'm talking about just the regular people that were out there for the statue of Robert E. Lee, which is what it was. And if you don't believe me, I'll link video in the description box below. You can see it and you can hear it for yourself. So that was a lie that Michelle Obama was peddling about. Trump was enabling the white supremacists and the neo-Nazis, all this, that, and the third. That was a lie through and through. And overall, her speech was not really inspiring. Twitter was clamoring, talking about, oh, she said it is what it is. I didn't even understand that. I'm like, what's the significance of that? Like, why was that so big? And it was explained to me that Trump said that it is what it is with the virus. And also, it was like Black Mom moment. I'm like, really? That's all you're clamoring and you're excited over that, over saying it is what it is? I just wasn't impressed at all. Throughout the entirety of the DNC, it was just doom and gloom. And there was also some really weird parts. And that's a good segue to the very end. Billy Porter, what are you doing, sir? Now, I've covered Billy Porter before. This was a guy that was, he made a guest appearance on Sesame Street, or at least like a promo for it. And he had on a tuxedo / dress in front of the Sesame Street door. All right. So I was like, man, we were trying to gender bend in Sesame Street, show some little kids. That goes back to the whole Arthur thing with, talking about Black Lives Matter and gay marriage. They're going a little bit too far. All right. But anyway, Billy Porter did a rendition of For What It's Worth in front of an interestingly colored flag. Now, I know what that flag is, but a lot of normies don't know what that is. That's the RBG flag, red, black, and green. It's also the Pan-African flag. You see a lot of the pro-black sector of the internet use that flag. You see them with the red, black, and green colors on. And one thing I got to say about it, I don't care if you're gay, straight, whatever. That's your business. I don't really care. That's you. All right. So this is not me. This is just the reality of the situation. Homosexuality and the Pan-African movement don't mix at all. At all. So Billy Porter doing something like that is going to upset a lot of the pro-black sphere. So if you are a black person and you voting for the Democratic Party, what are you really voting for? Okay, if you're in the pro-black movement, the LGBT stuff is not even permitted. It's just not really a thing. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. But I've been in that world. I know what these kind of guys think. And when I was there, I was the same way, that the whole gay stuff is just not even tolerated. It's actually spoken against. They speak against the feminization of the man, which is real. That's a real thing. I speak about that. And I'm not even in that kind of group. And in that group, it's even more. So this whole thing with Billy Porter wearing the dress in front of the RBG flag, that's a no-no. That's a no-go. And it's just not going to be permitted. So I'll be interested to see how the pro-black sphere reacts to that. And the song was just really cringy. The green screen, all of it. If they're going to do all this green screen, BET Awards type stuff, I'm not interested in anything that is similar to it. Same thing with sports, same thing with anything. I'm just not interested. It was just weird. And if they're going to do green screen and from the house type stuff, make it a little bit better. You know, don't have to be so bland, because with no audience, it was just really kind of cringy, really kind of bland. So as I close, I want to say this. Day one of the DNC is in the books. I would have streamed it, but I know how they do. They probably, they see my hat and all that. See, I'm conservative. They probably flag that down. Give me a strike on my channel. I don't want to do that. So I'll probably do like little recaps here and there. If I've missed anything, let me know in the comments below. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Did you enjoy the DNC day one? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or did you not enjoy it? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I'm at with it. That was cringy. No enthusiasm. Joe Biden. I mean, nobody really likes this guy. Or if they do like him, they know that he has no real ability to go out there and succeed on his own. Now, they're talking about the post office a lot during the DNC because they want to engage in some kind of fraud. They want to have any advantage they can, whether it's just smearing us as just, demons and haters on the right and making up lies, trying to have little loopholes and ways to cheat. That's what they want to do. That's what I heard throughout the entirety of day one of the DNC. And there'll be much more cringe to come. This is only the first day. We still got today, which is Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday will be the final day where Joe Biden speaks. I'll be interested to see how Joe Biden actually does his talk. Is it going to be live? Is it going to be from the basement? Where is he going to actually do this at? How is it going to be? Because one thing that was in their favor tonight or last night was the reality of, with editing and technology. If it were live, it probably would have been many more blunders and bloopers and whatnot. And if Joe Biden goes live, it's going to be plenty of blunders and bloopers. I actually want to see that because I want to have the American people see these people in the real element and not in kind of a conceptualized way or a non-realistic way. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.